Well, aloha kakahiaka, everybody. Today's May 13th, 2022. And if it's not May 13th, 2022 at 9 o'clock Hawaii time, that means you're watching the recorded version. You can skip forward about 4 or 5 minutes because we're in the pregame show. And I want to welcome all my friends who are joining us. We got Joan, who's here. Welcome, Joan. Joan's a alumni of the Islander Ohana. Another beautiful day in paradise indeed. And Chris is with us. Aloha kakahiaka. Hopefully everyone is having an awesome Friday. You can't not have an awesome Friday, Chris. In Hawaii, every Friday is an amazing Friday, and that's right. Thank you, Auntie Joyce. Today is Friday the 13th. I forgot all about that till you reminded us. Excellent. Avoid black cats today, and things in general. All right. Being it our lucky 13 here, let's go clockwise and get an update on where we're at. Big Island, Kona. First of all, let me introduce my friends. I'm here with Dylan Nonaka, who's with us from the Big Island. We're with Heidi Dallinger, who's with us from Maui. And of course, we're with Scott Startzman, who's with us on Oahu. So we're going to do a quick update, a little mic check, get everything warmed up. Dylan, let's go. Dylan, Heidi, and then Scott. Dylan, what's going on, buddy?
It seems like things are, we'll talk about this more later, but quieting down a little bit. We're talking about that things are, this morning for me, the email flow was very light. And so I feel like something's wrong, but maybe that's a good thing that we get a little bit of a break. But just another beautiful day over here. It's been, it's been dry a couple of days. We haven't had rain. The last few weeks have been really, really wet. Got to cut the grass every week, but so it's almost like you can enjoy a couple of days of break on the rain. So we're not used to that on the west side.
It's been a remarkably windy couple of weeks, actually. But regarding on Aloha Friday, thanks, Mark and Lisa, alumni of Islander Ohana. We just saw you guys a couple of weeks ago. Happy Aloha Friday, everyone. Direct quote from me to my wife yesterday. I love looking up after a long day of working hard and realizing that I still live in Hawaii. Every day is amazing. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Right? That's exactly right. So speaking of amazing, Heidi, what's going on over there in Maui?
Well, it's a beautiful day on Maui. I'm having my morning coffee.
What is it?
I tried a new coffee this week. It's called the Buzz Blend, and it's a 40% Kona dark coffee mixed with some Latin American beans. So you're going to laugh at me, but I'm starting to keep a coffee diary because I try so many different coffees, and I want to write down what I really think about them versus what the description might be. So more on that later, but
the Heidi Coffee blog. I can see it now. I want to see the Heidi Coffee blog. Yeah, that would be awesome.
That might be a YouTube channel idea.
Let's go. YouTube channel.
Making a business out of it. I just want to know which coffees I really like. I'll be happy to share it with you. But I'm also super excited. My fiance and I are going to Kauai this weekend for a weekend trip. So super excited about that. And happy Friday the 13th.
Awesome. Kauai is where are you guys going to go? Where are you going to go on Kauai?
We're staying on the North Shore in Princeville area, and we want to explore some hiking. So hopefully the weather will be nice.
I think the flight are you landing in Princeville Airport, or is that airport still operating? Are you going to land in Princeville?
Do you know? No, we're going to fly into Lihue.
Okay.
Rent a car and drive. So.
I don't know if the Princeville Airport shut down or they're still operating or whatever. I'm going to assume they're still operating. I don't know if you folks know, but landing in Princeville is one of the coolest, most beautiful landings, most beautiful places to land into that I've ever seen, airport-wise. Nothing comes close. It's just amazing. So have a great time. Kauai is very, very close to my heart. I love Kauai. My second favorite island. Scott, give us the Oahu mic check, Oahu update. What's going on, buddy? Welcome back, by the way, Scott. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you. I spent a week up in Yosemite with my parents for a little bit of time. I hadn't been able to see them prior to COVID, so it was nice to kind of get away and just get out to the national parks, which is an amazing experience of itself. But I mean, man, I don't think there's a cloud in the sky behind me. I mean, it's literally one of those perfect days. And it sounds like it is on every island. I mean, it's just unbelievable today.
That's a lot, and that is a lot. Here, hold on, Scott. That is a live shot, folks. Those are real moving palm trees. That's not a fake video background. I love about that, Scott. Scott's got it down on the best views. The rest of us are in quiet, air conditioned studios. But Scott, you did the right call here by lugging your gear near you at the end of your office there. Let's say hello to a bunch of our friends who have been joining us and putting it on the chat. Give us a shout out, folks. Let us know. Val is here. Val, welcome back, Val. Aloha all. Happy Aloha Friday indeed. Tom is back. Tom from the UK. Welcome back, Tom. Tom is my favorite long distance user. I don't think anyone's further away from us than Tom is. I don't think so. If you think you're further away than Tom, who's in the UK, please let us know. It'd be fun. Paul's happy. Paul comes back. Paul's become a regular, and it's great to have you back, Paul. Paul says, I enjoy these Hawaii real estate reports because it's nice to know there are markets more absurd than here in Los Angeles. Paul, absurd is a relative term. The market's ruling. People are paying for those prices. So is it absurd if people pay? I don't know. Neil, welcome back, Neil. Neil is with us, is part of this Islander Ohana's cohort. Neil, I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow. We're having our second conference meeting. Neil is back with us. Happy Aloha, everyone. Happy Friday. Patrick's back. Welcome back, Patrick. I love all these regulars. I love you folks coming back. It's so cool. I mean, it tells me that we're doing something that's interesting, and at least enough to come back. So it's great. Patrick, welcome back, buddy. Mahalo, folks on Oahu, Maui, and the Big Island. Aloha to you, Patrick. And so is Bobby. Bobby, give us a Bobby. Welcome back, Bobby. Good to see you. Bobby Islander, Ohana bought a property on the Big Island. Jim and Kath back again. Welcome back, Jim and Kath. Aloha from Oregon. Yeah, see you tomorrow, Neil. Indeed. And Jessica. Hey, Jessica, how's it? Jess and Wes, our Islander Ohana alumni, met them. They live on Oahu. We've met a few times at various meetups. Great to see you guys. Welcome back, everybody. All right. Let's see who else finally. Juliana's back. Welcome, Juliana. Welcome back. Aloha Friday. Good to see you again. All right. Let's move on. It's time to get the next slide on board over here. Let's go over some quick news, some quick updates. So here's what's happening, and be kind of fun to get some comments from our friends here as we go along. So there's a building just came up. So if you're interested in renting in Waikiki, there's a new building that just completed, and it's a monthly rents. Here we go. Here. Okay. So I wonder if we should do that. Okay. Let's do this. So let's have some fun. So there's a new building in Waikiki. It's designed for rentals. And so here's the question for the Ohana, for you folks that are watching us right now. What's the monthly rent for a studio? Monthly rent start. That means the lowest price for the studio in Waikiki. Put that in the comments. Let's see who's going to win this contest. And if Scott and I'm going to ask Dylan and Heidi and Scott, if you folks don't already know what this number is, just for fun. Starting price, rental in Waikiki, not a vacation rental. Renters must sign a 12-month lease. Average unit is 432 square feet for studios, 651 square feet for a one bedroom, 1,000 square feet for two bedroom, and 1,200 square feet for three bedrooms. What are they renting for? The studio, how much? Okay, they're coming in. Auntie Joyce says 2. Kel says 1,100. Neil says 2,500, and Jason says $5,000. All right, good. Let's get a few more in here. Patrick says 45. This is the starting price for the studio. This is great. I feel like I'm bidding. This is so much fun. Okay. Maui Median. Here's the fun one. Maui Median price 1.2 million. Now I got a screenshot because here's the funny part here, right? I'm old enough to remember that back in June of 2021, we were like going off that the Maui median home price had topped $1 million. We're like, oh my God, it's over $1 million. Just a year later, it's 1.2. So take that. Maui median price is 1.2 million. Hotel rates. If you've tried to book a hotel in Hawaii, you have realized it is darned expensive. One of our audience had mentioned, I think it was Christopher Longley, if I'm not mistaken, tried to rent out, not rent, but tried to book a hotel room on the Big Island for $1,000 a night. There's a there's a property in Maui. I'm not going to name it, but there's a property in Maui which everybody knows is a dive property. It's a total dive, like the worst of the worst properties, and it's renting. It's going for $300 a day. So the worst in Maui is $300 a day. Courtyard Maui, Kahului, $750 a night, etc. Grand Wailea, $1,300 a night. It's way up there. Japanese visitors are coming. Scott's told us about this a bunch of times. We've been kind of, quote, warning you about it. It is right around the corner. Looks like Governor Ige went to Japan to ask Japan for an exception to their COVID rules in Japan. If you are a returning Japanese national, you have to go into quarantine, and that's been putting a big kibosh on people traveling. So our Governor Ige, who's also of Japanese ancestry, went to Japan and said, hey, can you guys cut Hawaii a slack so that your returning Japanese nationals don't have to take, if they test negative or whatever, they don't have to be quarantined. So we'll see how that's going to go. There's some tax relief. It's minuscule. I'd like to see what Dylan thinks about the tax relief about that on the Big Island. That's going on. And let's kind of zoom in over here to get the view of the weather. Weather's looking, again, those 1 degree differences. It's been a couple of windy weeks, but looks like we're coming out of it. And today is a great way to start. All right, before we jump into our friends over here, let's do a quick, let's get a quick update on what the prices are. So Patrick says 45. Jim and Cass 7,500. Chris says 3,000. Joan says 3,300. Okay, so the answer is the starting price for the rent. The starting price for a studio in Waikiki, 2,300. That's the number. So all right, let's see. Joyce, Auntie Joyce says my tenant who works for Mauna Lani says Japanese groups get large discounts on rooms when they come in groups. They are very busy. Yeah, and they're going to be probably even more busy. All right, why don't we go, let's go counterclockwise. Let's go with Scott and then Heidi and then Dylan. Scott, give us a market update, news, anything you want to report on Oahu. What's happened? You've been away for this is about 4 weeks now, actually, since this is the last time that we saw you. What's going on Oahu, Scott?
Yeah, when I got back, there was a really nice south swell. That thing was probably one of the bigger south swells I've seen in a while. It woke up a lot of the surf breaks that you only see on rare occasions. So it was really neat when I was walking up on top, up one of the ridges and whatnot, look down, you could just see all the lines out on the water. It was awesome. As far as the market goes, it's crazy. I mean, it's interest rates are up like around 5.5%, which, starts to put a significant impact on affordability as prices continue to go. But I poured through the numbers that came out the other day, and I'm not seeing the slowdown. I mean, I'm feeling it a little bit. There's less people, but I just put an offer in Kailua where, 6 months ago I would have expected, 20 offers on it. We were competing with 10. So there's still a large number of buyers in the market, and none of the numbers have changed. Months of inventory hadn't changed. Our list to sales price ratio for single family homes they're still selling at 102% list to sales price ratio. Our median price on single family homes is 1.1 right now, and condos is 510,000. But the big shift we should start to see is to the condo side, because as borrowing money gets to be more expensive and prices continue to go like they have, people are going to shift to those more affordable options, which are going to be the condos. And now, as we see the Japanese buyers coming back as well, they're going to go more to condos. So condo market's definitely heated up. We're at 13%, up 13% this year to date for condo prices. So I haven't seen a whole lot slowing down. I do expect it to, just because interest rates, what they're doing, that's just going to eat into affordability. But
it's going to be interesting to kind of see what the effect is going to be of that. So your prediction, Scott, you're kind of forecasting that there's going to be more movement in the condo market because the higher interest rates are forcing sort of invisible price increases, and therefore people will shift.
Yeah.
Be interesting to kind of see what's going to happen if the market's going to, how much of a slowdown. Again, it's not enough of a slowdown. You only had 10 people showing up instead of 20. Hey, awesome. So that before we go to you, Heidi, we got a quick question from Tom. When they say median price, is that of ones on the market or that have sold, or a general estimate? That's a great question. Scott, you want to hit the one real quick? What they mean when they say median price? Is it ones that have sold median price, on the market median price? What does they mean?
Yeah, it's of the ones that have sold.
There you go. So there you go, Tom. Ones that have sold. Patrick's going to take the rental. Patrick, hurry up, buddy, because they're gonna sell quick. I mean, not sell. They're going to rent out quick. And Kinaya, aloha from Austin. Welcome, Kinaya. Kinaya is one of our first Islander alumni. And she is making Hawaii, going to put Hawaii in her future. I know it, Kinaya. I'm looking forward to it. Heidi, give us the what's up in Maui. What's new? How did you guys get shocked by the hotel price you're going to be renting on Kauai? What's going on?
Well, Peter, you mentioned the median price. The latest stats for Maui was 1.24425 for a single family home, and condo median price, the latest stats show 815,000. So half the properties sold higher than that, half the properties sold lower than that. It's just kind of a general indication of where the pricing is. There are definitely less properties selling now than there were a year ago. But if you look at the levels historically, there's still more closings now than any time between 2010 and 2020. So it's still a pretty busy market. In Maui County as a whole, we have 149 condos for sale. There are about 326 under contract. For single family homes, there's 183 for sale. There's 194 under contract. So the market's moving. We are seeing, a bit of a shift as far as some buyers are more cautious or cognizant of the interest rates, but because the inventory is so low, there's plenty of buyers for the inventory we have. So we're not seeing any change. And it's just, every situation's different. Some listings you have to go in 150,000 higher and you still might get it. And then some other listings you're able to negotiate on. And we are seeing some price reductions now, which we haven't seen for a while, but it's not really because prices are going down. I think it's just sellers have been pricing properties higher and higher and higher. So sometimes they'll have to adjust.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting kind of track. It's been fun to kind of, now that we've had some time on the show, we're second year or something like that, right? To kind of see things kind of change over time and kind of see these predictions come forward and kind of see the market changes. So this is going to be another switch in the market. So Ray is with us. Ray, love you, man. Ray is Islander Ohana alumni, lives in Hawaii, and just the nicest, greatest guy. I'm so glad, Ray, that you're a part of what we're doing over here. Welcome back, Ray. Dylan, give us the Big Island update, man. What's happening? What's the market like? Any news? Anything you want to report on?
Well, so since you mentioned it, I have to comment on the tax relief bullet, right? So politicians love to, in a re-election year, say we've provided tax relief to people, and if you don't look at the actual numbers and what that actually means, you can be misled. So that there is across the board, they're proposing a reduction in the property taxes across the board, except for the residential rate, which is kind of the second homeowner vacation rental rate that you pay, but it's minuscule. So it looks like, with the way they list property taxes, they're going from $6.15 per thousand to $6.10. But if you calculate that into a percentage, we're talking about less than 0.5%. And what it translates into is if you have, say you have an $800,000 house, right, kind of average house in Kona, you're talking about a $40 decrease in your property taxes for the year. So
big tax break. What relief?
Huge tax break. So that is a 0.08% decrease in your taxes, but when property values have gone up 10+%, the county's making out pretty good in terms of their tax revenue. So
that's so funny. You're right. Yeah, so my property value has gone up by 20%.
But you reduced my taxes by 0.08, so I should reelect you. There you go. That's a short story.
Okay, how's the market? How's the rest of how's the market doing on? How crazy is it? How many? We should have had a bananas rating. Is it four? Is it a 4 bananas market? Is it a 5 bananas market or a 1 banana market? How many bananas? What's going on with
it's been pretty steady the last few months in terms of we're seeing less units sell than a year ago, because a year ago we were in the frenzy. April, the summer of last year was insane, but we're still seeing the same kind of ratio of like right now there's 1,400 active properties on the market and 1,285 in escrow. So it's almost still that 1-to-1 number, where it was actually lopsided a year ago, where there was 1,600 in escrow and 1,500 on the market a year ago. So there's a little bit of an increase in the number of properties that are on the market versus what is under contract, but pretty much, you know, everything that's coming on the market is selling, and we're still at very low days on market. You know, almost the condo market is still over 100% final list of sold price. So it's been pretty consistent the last, you know, 4 or 5 months, and nothing dramatic's happened yet. But we are, I mean, just anecdotally, I am seeing, you know, properties sit a little bit longer. Sellers are being really ridiculous on price more often, so that's what's causing those prices, you know, those properties to stay put. But anything that's priced properly, you may not be getting 10 offers, but you're still going to get 3 or 4. So, you know, we're definitely seeing that demand decrease. But the interest rate thing, like Scott was talking about, that's going to take a little while. I mean, that's kind of new, but that's going to take a little while to catch up and affect the market. But we're already seeing, I've had, I think 4 transactions in the last 30 days have to cancel because they were pre-qualified 3 or 4 months ago and have been shopping, and then now they get qualified, you know, they get into escrow, and the loan officer reruns the numbers, and due to the interest rate, they're no longer qualified for the house that they were going to buy. So it can decrease, you know, it can decrease on the lower end market, you know, maybe under 600. It can decrease your buying power by 40 or 50,000. On the higher end market, you know, $1 million and above, you're talking about an 80,000 plus decrease in your buying value between a, you know, 4.5 and a 5.5 or 6% interest rate. So it's significant what it changes your ability to buy. So the advice is, if you're shopping, make sure your files are updated with your loan officer and they're rerunning numbers based on the current rates, because it could change your situation significantly.
Oh, that's a really, really good point. Hey, folks, have any of you been experiencing this? Or if you're in the final stages of buying or pre-qualifying, have you kind of noticed a change? Do you have to go back to your bank? I'd be curious if anyone has anything experience that they want to share. You know, Scott, you were shaking your head when Dylan was talking about some numbers. I think he was talking about the amount of listings on the market, and I saw you kind of like shaking your head on that. What's the same crazy stat, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we're at 475 homes active, 900 condos, so we're right there at, you know, 1,300, the same as the Big Island. And I think that's a little bit of why nothing's changed on Oahu yet. Is it's an indication that there were so many buyers in the market that you got to bleed through a lot of that. People still need homes, and they're going to continue to do that even as interest rates go up, until you kind of thin the herd out. But yeah, we still don't have the inventory over here. And I don't see it changing, because the interesting thing is as interest rates go up, even if someone's deciding to sell and they want to buy the same price home over here, if they had a mortgage that the interest rate was, say, 3% over here, they buy the same price over here, the mortgage interest rate's going to be higher when you trade to that new home. Your payment automatically goes up. So you actually may see more sellers sitting in place as rates increase, just because the cost to buy a different home will be more expensive and not worth it for them.
That's a really interesting point. It's creating an incentive. Because because the prices have increased, it's disincentivizing people from buying, which also means it disincentivizes certain people from selling. Because if you're going to buy the same price house, for example, or try to get some kind of an upgrade, you're going to pay more, which may further exacerbate the problem. This is going to be interesting to see how this all goes over here. You know, there was something else that you guys you guys were starting to talk about offline, but just before we started the show, Scott, where you asked Dylan a question about the, I don't know if you wanted to follow up on that. You asked him a question about the condo price or something like that. I don't know if you wanted to follow up on that.
Oh yeah, I had somebody ask me the other day. They're thinking about Kona Kondo and Kona. What's kind of the low end threshold for condos in the Kona area?
Dylan, you're muted.
Mid 300s is what we're seeing for even studios and 1 bedrooms. So I mean, that's like bottom, and there's usually 1 or 2 or 3 on the market at any given time. So really, you should be looking like 4 to 6 right now on the Kona side.
So 600,000 for a condo.
Something small. Something small. I mean, if you want anything ocean front or ocean view, I mean, it's going to be 800 plus.
Forget about it.
Yeah.
Forget about it. All right, cool. Well, we got some comments that came in from Joan. 2,300 Hawaii isn't bad considering they're getting 2,000 in Colorado Springs for 400 square feet. I mean, Colorado Springs has high demand real estate. Hawaii is, right there with all the high demand urban areas like, New York, prime real estate in New York, Chicago, Los Angeles, etc. San Francisco, Hawaii is right there, and I would think Colorado Springs is one of those places. Patrick gives it a 5. We got 5 bananas. 5 bananas from Patrick. So Auntie Joyce, she said, we're in Hawaii. We should get pineapples instead of bananas. Yes, but pineapples are not like indigenous. The pineapples were sort of imported. Bananas were kind of like, nothing's natural because the islands are fundamentally volcanic. But native Hawaiians, that the first ones that immigrated. The first ones that immigrated to Hawaii on the canoes brought bananas. They brought bananas and coconuts. They didn't bring pineapples. So that's the reason for the bananas. And not just that, more so, Auntie Joyce, people say it's so bananas, right? That figure of speech, a local figure of speech. It's like, oh, that's so bananas. That's why. No one says, oh man, that's so pineapple. That just it doesn't flow. That's the reason why. But pineapples are good. I love pineapples. All right, Jim and Kath, I'm an underwriter and see loans falling out every day due to rate increases. Losing their job would be a close second for losing loans. Thanks, Jim and Kath. I really appreciate that. That's some really good, real world experience that's sharing. I appreciate that a lot. Dave, welcome, Dave. Dave says leasehold in Kona is less money, but ? Big story, man. We've done a bunch of videos. Go on the video channel and search for leasehold. We wrote a whole bunch of stuff about leasehold, tons of stuff. So big difference, huge difference. Yes, but emojis of pineapples are cool. Yes, they are. Yeah, I would agree. More colorful. Livermore, Norm also is a current member of the Honor Ohana. Norm, hope to see you tomorrow. Same price for studio here in Livermore, California. Yep, exactly. And the hotspot's back with us. Good call on the bananas, right? The hotspot Kaunakakai. Welcome back, buddy. Welcome back. Good to see you. Patrick, 19 to 2,200 a month in downtown Raleigh for nothing in view versus what Waikiki has to offer. Excellent point, Patrick. Excellent point. Raleigh, North Carolina. Scott, aren't you from North Carolina? This is like your home state kind of thing, right?
Yep, got good friends there, and grew up in Charlotte.
So, Scott, how would you characterize the difference? I know it's an easy. I'm going to give you a softball question here, Scott. How would you characterize the difference between Raleigh, North Carolina, and Waikiki? Go ahead.
All right, let me put it this way. I got a one-way ticket out here 22 years ago for a reason.
One way. I got a one-way ticket for a reason. There you go. Nothing more said. Please send me a rental contract. Yeah, Patrick, unfortunately, we don't do rental contracts. You're going to have I could send you, I'll dig up the link and I'll send you the link, but there is no, unfortunately, we have tried, gang. I have tried for years now to figure out a way that we can kind of help people find rentals, like a rental agency kind of a deal, but they don't do rental agents over here. The market's just not right. I think we talked about this earlier, Scott. I think there's too much of a demand. They don't need rental agents the way they do in other markets. So you're going to have to, Patrick, you're going to have to get over here, boots on the ground, and then walk in and do it, because that's the way it's going to have to work. So come on over and get started. All right, everybody. Thanks. We're going to let's move on. So I found a fun thing here I want to share with you all, which is, so I got a question for you all. I saw this article about cars in Hawaii, and I thought it'd be kind of fun to throw this out here. Trivia question. This is the Ohana question for you folks. What is Hawaii's favorite car in terms of that gets the most amount of sales last year? What's the car, make and model? Take a guess. Put Hawaii's favorite car. Put it in the comments, make and model, and we'll see who gets them. We'll see how this dialogue turns out. All right, that's what the question is. Put your answers in the comments, and let's get to the screen so we can move on. All right, great. Hey, look, if you haven't, how did you get here? Did you get here on the newsletter? If you got the newsletter invite to bring you to the show with the links, you're good. If you didn't come here, if you're here with us, we're glad you're here. If you want to get invites to the show that we have every other week, go to livinginhawaii.com. You'll get a pop-up for the newsletter. Pop in your email address. Of course, you could not subscribe anytime, but you'll get the invites. You'll be part of the group. You'll get the videos. I got a couple of videos that are coming out on retirement that you're going to want to be clued in on, and all those great articles. So that's that quick quick station update. All right. So the big question that we got is this one, which I thought might be kind of a cool topic, which is car-free living on Oahu. The question is about Oahu, but I want to go across all the islands. So the topic is car-free living. So here's the question, and this comes from Richard from Queens in New York. And he says, I'm 61 years young, and my wife and I are thinking of relocating to Oahu, possibly the Hawaii Kai area. I love swimming, preferably in a pool. Dude, you're in Hawaii. You don't go in a pool. You go in the ocean. Okay. And bike. I love swimming, preferably in a pool, biking and lifting weights. I would love to live car-free. Do you recommend Hawaii Kai or possibly downtown Honolulu? We have visited Oahu twice and used the bus for exploring. So let's talk about. So Scott, why don't you kind of get us started with a direct answer? Hey, if Richard wants to live car-free, what would you say? Where would you say would be a good place for Richard to live? Is Hawaii Kai a good spot, or others? What would you recommend? That's number one. And number two, is car-free living something that's, how could you do car-free living? There's a lot of options now. The world is different. It's not the way it was like 20 years ago. And then I want to hear from Heidi on that possibility, and then from Dylan. So Scott, why don't you open it up over here and let us know what's going on?
Yeah, I mean, car-free living in New York versus Honolulu is going to be vastly different. I mean, obviously, you're going to have way more public transportation options in New York than you would here in Honolulu. And then if you look at where's the best place, I mean, anytime you're in the metro urban core component, you're going to have everything, closer to proximity to you. It's going to be more cost effective to be able to use public transportation or walk or bike wherever you need to go. And your resources are going to be closer. I mean, you could do it in Hawaii Kai, but, think about it. Hawaii Kai is probably 40,000 residences. So it's much more of kind of a micro, I don't want to call it a city, micro town or community. So you're going to have less options there if you're doing something without a car, and you'd probably end up having to Uber or take the bus more often to come into Honolulu every once in a while. You can definitely do it, and I would probably say kind of the Poly Highway cutoff towards the east would be the best, but that urban core stretch is going to give you the least hassle, the least amount of time having to deal with the transportation component. And how they're designing areas now, especially Kakaka, but in most major urban centers, is commercial space on the ground. You have basically micro communities or micro hoods within these locations. So it's commercial space on the ground, and you're going up more vertical above it. And to get to the point where a lot of people don't really leave their neighborhood, you'll have everything that you need in your neighborhood. So yes, it's doable. I would say it's much easier in Honolulu.
Honolulu, because of the urban, I think a combination of things, right? The public transportation, the urban corridor, all that kind of stuff, I think is a big part. I would add in, Richard, it depends if you're retired or if you're going to be working. I'm assuming that if you're working, then all bets are off, right? Go ahead,
yeah, and healthcare. I mean, if you're needing specialists, you're probably going to want to be more in the urban core so you can be closer to it.
Yeah, exactly. But Hawaii Kai is definitely a little self-contained little community of its own. It's even got it doesn't have a hospital per se, but it's got there's a couple of medical offices, etc. That could work. All right, Heidi, give us the update. Not update, but if I want to live car-free in Maui, what would I need to do, or live, or is it even possible? What would you say?
For most people, they're probably going to want to have a car on Maui. You could live car-free if you were in town, like in Lahaina town, and you could bike around and walk. There also is a bus system that will take you to the other side of the island. It works great as long as you have the time and schedule to be able to get on the bus when it's going and come back when it's coming back. I would say it's not super convenient, but it is possible. It's also possible to have a scooter and get around a lot of places on a scooter.
Yeah, but if I was 61 years young, I'm not sure I'd be wanting to do the scooter thing. That I'm not too sure about the scooter. Heidi, have you tried the Uber thing on Maui? Are there like enough Uber? Like on Oahu, there's a fair amount of Uber drivers. You can get an Uber ride almost like right away, like any urban area. Have you tried for Uber on Maui? If it's plentiful or not?
Yeah, there is Uber. It tends to be a long wait, especially at peak times. So it would be a better idea to schedule some kind of driver or schedule a ride in advance. I mean, living here, it's easier for me to just call somebody and ask for a ride rather than call Uber. So
There you go.
I haven't used it a lot, but there is Uber and Lyft here.
There is Uber and Lyft. Yeah. Call the fiance. Get the fiance. You know, he's got to earn his keep, right? So, you know, pick me up. Dylan, is it even possible to consider being carless on the Big Island?
No. It's a big island. Everything is spread out. We have tons of hills because the island is young and there's a lot of elevation changes. It would be, in my opinion, very difficult to live car free. It'd be very inconvenient. And then you would give up your ability to enjoy the stuff that makes living on the Big Island worthwhile. A lot of the great beaches are a ways away from town. Getting to the national park and the volcano. I mean, you would limit your ability to, I think, enjoy the natural beauty of the Big Island. And so, I think that would be a not worth trading off, in my opinion. And let's not forget, because I love data, Hawaii is the 6th deadliest state in terms of for pedestrians. So, well, we're not a pedestrian friendly state by any means. So, if you come from a big city and it's not really an issue, it's different here. I mean, there's not a lot of sidewalks. I guess I don't know if drivers are bad here or what, but we have.
I did not know that. Not know that.
We're always in the top 10 for pedestrian deaths, per capita every year. So.
I did not know that. That's interesting. Sad, but interesting. And Patrick,
but I do attribute some of that to we've all seen this, right? For whatever reason, when people go on vacation, they lose their mind, right? And they just walk into a busy street thinking that they're on vacation, so everybody's going to stop. And half the time, that's probably why people get hit. But if you go to Waikiki, you see the most aloof people you've ever seen in your life when it comes to pedestrian safety, I feel like. So
that is I mean, of course it's true, right? Tourists, we just tourists, the brain gets shut off and we have no idea what we're doing and where we're going. I feel that way when I go on vacation at certain places. What's interesting, you mentioned about the street crossing in Waikiki. So I was born in Chicago. So when I first came here, I was blown away by the culture in that people in Hawaii stop at intersections and wait for the light. And Scott's nodding his head, right? People in Hawaii, we actually stop and wait for if we see the hand, we'll stop. If we see we'll wait till the walking guy shows up and then we'll walk. Whereas in Chicago, it's like, just run, man. Just run, just go for it. It kind of is a side note. I remember one time I was in Chicago and I was driving down Wacker Drive, which is just outside. It's in the financial district, downtown Chicago, super crowded and everything. And it's rainy. And I'm jamming through, got all the green lights, and in Chicago it's like, get as fast as you can, right? So I'm kind of flying through, and there's pedestrians running in front of me as I'm speeding down this busy intersection, downtown Chicago, urban core. There's people running back and forth across the street. So that was remarkable. So why we have the high rate of pedestrian deaths, I don't understand, but that's that. All right. Anybody want to chime in? I'm going to go on. I'm going to reveal the answer to the trivia question. Anybody want to chime in? Is there anything you want to add, Heidi, Scott, or anything on this topic? Okay. So we had a couple of comments over here, and I was flipping it through as you guys were talking. So and I think I want to give the kudos to the one who came first with the right answer, which was pretty remarkable. Who said it here? Oh yeah. Give me. Oh, let's see.
Can we guess first?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, go ahead, Dylan. What's your guess?
I think it's Toyota Tacoma.
Toyota Tacoma. Heidi, what do you think?
Toyota Tacoma.
Absolutely.
Or 4Runner. Could be a mix of the two, but definitely.
Yeah, thanks. It is okay. So I want to give kudos to who got it first, because somebody, darn it, I'm scrolling through and I can't
I've seriously looked into buying Toyotas on the mainland and shipping them here, because you can make $10,000-$15,000 off. You can buy them in Washington or Oregon for 10 or 15,000 less, and you can resell them here for. But you can only do 5 vehicle transactions a year before you have to get a dealer's license. Yeah.
Toyota Tacoma. All you folks who did Toyota Tacoma, it's a Toyota. So Jessica Morris, first one up here with the Toyota Tacoma, and there was a bunch of who said it too. The hotspot Toyota Garand. So he should add the S over there. So Toyota Garands. So folks, what Garands mean is like local slang, which is actually a slang of Garands Balbarans, which is the long Garands Balbarans is the local total slang, but we say Garands for short, meaning guaranteed. So well done. And that is the one. And number two was the 4Runner, Toyota 4Runner. Number 3 was the RAV4. Let me see if I could paste these. No, I can't paste it.
Did I tell you the story of when we bought my wife's car like 6 months ago? I think it was.
I think you did, but go ahead.
So we went to the she'd been looking for a while for, it was time for a new car, and she found a used Ford Explorer that was exactly the way she wanted it. She had very particular tastes about what she wanted at the Toyota dealership, but it had 800 miles. Like somebody had bought it and just turned it right back in. So we go there, and the Toyota dealership is completely empty. Like there's 2 or 3 used cars in the lot, and the dealership's totally empty. So we test drive the car, and then we get back and say, "You like it?" She says, "Yes." I said, so I go inside and I tell the salesperson, I said, "Hey, just give me the best price out the door. Like we don't need to negotiate. I don't need financing." And she says, "Oh no, the sticker price is the price. We don't have any cars. There's no negotiating." And I said, "Okay, I'll be back this afternoon to sign the paperwork." So it's very, very efficient car negotiation.
and I'll bet that since then your wife's car is probably worth more now than what it was.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we could resell it for more. Yeah.
Yeah. You could
My fiance bought a Toyota Tacoma about 4 years ago and just resold it for higher than 4 years ago after driving it for 4 years. So Toyota Tacomas transcend Blue Book value. There's a different value.
They're transcendent. Toyota. That's the line, Heidi.
My brother just sold a used Tacoma. I think it was 15 years old. I think it was like 2004, and he got, I think, $12,000 for it. I mean, it was insane. It's just insane.
It's insane. And Dylan, to follow on all your comments about cars on the big one, I would add there's a reason why, I'm not sure. Somebody asked why. Who asked why? Patrick asked why. Patrick, I'm not sure if the why is Toyota Tacoma's the number one car. I can answer that. Is because number one, Japanese cars are really popular in Hawaii. When you come to Hawaii, you will notice very, very interestingly a preponderance, a dominance of Japanese cars in Hawaii. That's number one. And number two, the Toyotas are, they're built tough. And number three, trucks are, pickup trucks are a big deal in Hawaii. Everyone loves pickup trucks because it's easy to kind of throw your stuff in when you go to the beach. It belies into Hawaii's sort of outdoor kind of lifestyle. You throw your fishing gear in there, you throw your surfboards in there, you throw your family in the back, all that kind of stuff. That's one of the big reasons why. Dylan, I was going to add on to, on the big, you need a rugged car because a lot of the stuff is, a sedan, probably not a good idea on the big on. That's one of the reasons why the Tacoma or the 4Runner, et cetera, high ground clearance can go off-roading because off-roading is almost a must. I was surprised by that when we first moved out there. I wasn't quite ready for it. It's a very, very rugged place. I don't know if you want to add anything.
When I was living on the Big Island, I went to actually go try to buy a Tacoma down at the dealer in Kona. And I needed something that I could be able to go off-road, go to Makalavena, go down to Waipio Valley if you want to go up to Mauna Kea, up top and stuff. You need clearance. You need lift. The only way they were selling those Tacomas was lifted with the wide stance, fully loaded, the whole 9 yards. And they only had like two options. Here it is, fully loaded and fully loaded. Which one do you want? And that was it. And I didn't end up getting one, but you kind of need it on the Big Island because some of those beaches and some of the access you can't get to without going off road.
Yeah, you need that, Dylan. You need that sort of high ground clearance car if you really want to see.
And the other important factor is we don't have municipal trash service on the Big Island, so you take your own trash or you hire a private company. But that's a big thing. Is everyone needs a truck to go, on Saturday or Sunday. That's a ritual. You take your trash to the transfer station and throw it yourself.
You take your trash to the transfer station. There you go. That is a really good point. We've been getting some great feedback on the living carless. I want to add those comments in because I really want to thank you all for contributing. Jessica, we have one car. I ride the Bicky every day. So Bicky is this really cool service where it's a bicycle thing, and you basically rent a bike from point A to point B, and when you get to point B, you park the bike in another Bicky rack and you walk away from it. So you don't have to take that same bike back. So it's a great point-to-point place if you like biking. And Honolulu has become more bike-friendly than it used to be. You can get on a Bicky, rent the bike just for that distance. So that's a great service. It's a very flattened town, good bike lanes, lots of restaurant shops close by, but would recommend closer to downtown Waikiki. Recommend where you live closer to downtown Waikiki. It's very the Bicky is another thing. You don't have a Bicky in Hawaii Kai. You do have Bickies in town, which is where Jessica is living. Joan says bus system here is fantastic. I live in Kaka'ako and it's easy to get around. Bus system is Honolulu is known for its bus system, thankfully. But Dave says Hawaii Kai Costco shopping area is on the water. I wonder how many Costcos are on the water. We have a Costco on the water. So that'd be kind of cool. So you're welcome, Patrick. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, so Christopher, good old Wacker Drive. You're familiar with Wacker Drive, of course. And Richard says, thank you for all the in-depth information. It is our pleasure. It's what we do. It's what we do here. So got any questions, folks? And we're going to be moving on. It's almost that time. We've got about 18 minutes left. If you have any final questions, pop them in now so we can get them in because we're going to be moving on. I want to hit these comments real quick. Auntie Joyce just says dangerous to try to back out of a parking space, especially at Crossroad. Auntie Joyce, this is why locals back into the parking space so we don't have to back out of it. If you notice in Hawaii, another cultural Hawaii thing is people in Hawaii back into the parking space. They don't go, so they go, butt in so that they pull out easier. And I had it's kind of funny. I'm going to talk on this. I want to see what you guys think about this. So a long time ago, I was curious about this. So I posted it on Facebook, and not all the locals were responding. Says, why do people in Hawaii, what's the cultural thing? Why do we back into a parking spot? Dylan, I'd like to hear what you think about this, especially as someone who was born and raised here. Why do we back into a parking spot in Hawaii as opposed to kind of go front in and then back out of a parking spot? Why is that? So one of the most interesting answers I got, and I got all kinds of answers, but one of the most interesting ones I got was from a local born and raised here, Native Hawaiian. He said, it's part of a delayed gratification culture that we have. It's like you're gonna sacrifice first. It's more difficult. It's more difficult to back into the spot. It's easier to pull out. So I'm going to take the pain now and back in, delayed gratification, back into the spot because I can pull out and it's easier. That was an interesting thing, Dylan. I know what's your take. Why do we back into spots? Why do we back into parking spots in Hawaii as opposed to front end?
I like that, and I would agree with that. My reason is a little bit more practical. Is a lot of us, especially on the Big Island, have bigger vehicles or bigger SUVs or bigger full-size trucks, and it's just easier to back into a small parking stall at a grocery store than it is to go head first. Sometimes you got to go 3 or 4 times to get it in because you can't cut the angle the right way. So just from a driving practicality standpoint, I find it easier to back in, and then of course it's more convenient when you pull out and you can just go. So if you have a large vehicle, small parking stalls, it's much easier to back in.
So here we go, right off the rabbit hole. Auntie Joyce makes a pretty nondescript thing, and then Peter just takes and blows it up into a whole topic. Scott or Heidi, you guys want to add anything? Just unmic yourself and add into the convo if you want to add anything to it.
And here's another courtesy thing, right? Is I'm conscious of if there's cars that are head first. If I back in next to that car, the driver's side doors are on opposite sides, and I can get closer to the passenger side if it's a tight space. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Totally. All right. Excellent. Okay. Let's see here. What do we got? Let's get a few. I want to grab a few more comments before we move on. Kinaya, trade in the CRV for a Toyota Tacoma. Well, that'd be a way to kind of, quote, make a few bucks if you could. CRV, by the way, is number 5. So you're not far off, Kinaya. You're not far off. CRV is number 5 in Hawaii, but
my kids my kids have a joke, and this isn't saying anything about Kanaya's age, but my kid says that everybody's grandma has a Honda CRV. Like every grandma they know which has a Honda CRV. It's like the grandma car. It's issued when you become a grandma. You get issued a CRV
from the mouth of babes. Daryl, hey Daryl, welcome back, buddy. Daryl is one of our earliest Islander Ohana members, alumni. Okay, so on vacation or toe dip, ship a Tacoma, use it to research and get around, and sell it when leaving. That's what I heard. Boom, there you go. That's it.
Sell it for your down payment on a house. Perfect.
For your down payment on the house. Yeah, there you go, Daryl. Daryl, winner. On vacation with the Toyota Tacoma, ship it over. Whenever I go to the mainland now, I'm shocked at how few Toyota Tacomas are on the road. Right, exactly, right. No one. You're back to, as soon as you go back, especially in Texas, right? It's got to be Ford F-150s and Chevy Suburbans, but I guarantee it's Ford F-150. That's what everyone's got, right? So Jason, I waited 2 years for my Bronco to arrive. It was born to run those rugged rules of exactly. That is exactly correct. Let's see, all kinds of stuff over here. So the hotspot. Do you know lenders who are qualifying applicants with only 1 year of tax returns or bank statements? That's so Dylan saying yes. So Dylan, Scott, what's your response to the hotspot here, who wants to qualify with 1 year of tax returns or no bank statements?
You're gonna pay a higher interest rate, but there are some programs coming out, stated income loans and other things where they'll use a P&L, business P&L, wait, when is it? 1 year of tax? Oh, it's 1 year of tax returns. That maybe you need tax returns. It's more employment that they're getting a little bit looser on. Normally 2 years of employment. So tax returns, I'm not sure. Got to check on that.
Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these loans, they're income-based loans, and they're based off of Fannie and Freddie guidelines. So it's not necessarily the lenders on the just standard kind of loans that set the guidelines. It's Fannie and Freddie. But what we are starting to see, and what we should see now more with the interest rate movement, is more those creative loans, which are going to be either portfolio, or you get some specialty lender programs that are starting to do these much more creative stuff, and you'd have to go that route.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. Thanks for Heidi. Is there anything you want to add to this?
Yes. We have been seeing some bank statement loads, and it is possible. It is important to talk to your lender and also make sure that the property you're buying qualifies for the particular type of loan, because I know that some resort type properties don't qualify for the bank statement loans, but if it's a more conventional residential property, that would qualify. So important to talk to a lender. But I've been seeing more creative loans happening, and also the 1 year tax returns are just going back 1 year. Some buyers have been utilizing that because for many buyers, 2020 wasn't necessarily a high income year compared to 2021. So if they just have the 2021 tax returns, that's what they're using. But I guess bottom line, talk to a good lender.
That's the thing. Talk to a good lender. That is the key. All right, let's move on here. We got a bunch of comments I want to get through. Ray, thank you, Ray. Walking, biking works great in Kailua. It's a small town with most everything. Yeah, it's a little kind of a self-contained thing. Auntie Joyce agreed on backing in the spots, except that it's harder to open the trunk and put the bags in. Agree 1,000%. You're going to Costco, you're not backing into the stall in Costco because you got the big, huge cart, you got boxes of stuff. No way, Jose. You got to have, you're going to go front into Costco. Vern says, want to ask if you guys, if the new short-term restriction on Oahu will eventually be adopted on the other islands. Mahalo for all you guys do. Vern, I think so. Well, to a certain degree, I mean, it's not like exactly, it's going to be different. Each island is different. There are restrictions. Every island already has restrictions. Maui has restrictions. Big Island has restrictions. The general, I don't know if you guys want to chime this one quickly, but the general trend here is that yes, things are becoming more expensive for visitors. They're becoming more expensive for visitors. People are being much more careful about allowing visitors into residential areas. I think that is a trend that has started. I think that trend's going to continue. I know Dylan or Scott or Heidi, if you guys have anything else you want to chime in on that, just go ahead and unmute yourself, because I'm going to kind of keep moving on here. We're running short on time.
The short answer is it all depends on politics and who's elected. So
that's right. And knowing that everyone gets reelected every single time, and knowing it, and we have the same people year in and year out, Dylan, I don't see that trend changing. We keep electing the same kind of people.
Well, the councils and the mayors have term limits, so there is a changeover. It's slow, but there is more changeover than the state.
Good point. Well said. Well said. Thank you. I stand corrected. Yeah. So, but it does depend on politics. Very, very true. Thanks, Chris. I'm going to skip. That's a great comment. Mount Prospect, Illinois. I was actually in the same area as you were in, and you're in big trouble, Graham. Good one. Excellent. Okay. Yeah. So, thank you, Patrick. I agree. I go to the same here in Maine. Take the time to back in when you're okay. Okay. Good. Very good. Andre, why do people bring their entire car from Hawaii than just the license plate? Amazing. Well, that's why, because cars are really hard to find here now, and they're very, very expensive. That's why. The Jeep Wrangler is not in the top 10. But it's an off-road car. It would fit. It's just not in the top 10. But it would work. Tax returns are only required if SE, self-employed. I think that's what he means by SE. Tax returns are only required if self-employed. Alaska people bring their cars also. Yeah, no highway on the coast, or they go to Alaska highway ship. Yep, very, very true. And a follow from the hotspot. Thanks, the hotspot. I'm glad you got that answer. Depending if it's jumbo or not. Thanks, Jim and Kath, for expanding on that. All right, had to kind of rip through those pretty quick. Hope if I missed something that's important that you put in and you want to restate it, please do, because I just kind of wanted to rip through those comments because I want to get to our. Got to get through our diamonds and deals, and it kind of shows that actually almost over again. It goes by quick. Why can't you get a bank account before you move there? You could. It's not so much a bank account. It's finding a good lender. All right, let's get into diamonds and deals. We've got our properties lined up over here that I've asked our friends to highlight. So let's start with this one. Kahului Beach Road. Heidi, what are we looking at here? $269 fee simple. What?
So this is a super deal. Probably among the very lowest price fee simple condominiums you will find on Maui. You can see in the upper right-hand corner, it's located close to Kahului Harbor. It's near Maui College, Maui Arts and Cultural Center. Pretty much a parking lot view, but this unit has been remodeled, and it's 2 bedrooms, 1.5 baths for $269,000. And the HOA fees are under $600 a month.
What's the catch? $269 low fees. What's the catch? There's got to be a catch. There's got to be a catch.
Nothing fancy, but it's a great place to live. Yeah. Gang,
$269. What are you waiting for? Jesus, $269 for a 2-bedroom. It's an industrial area, Kahului. You're sort of in a light industrial area, isn't it, Heidi? Like by Kahului Harbor over there, somewhat. How would you characterize the immediate area?
Yeah, this is not a resort area.
Right.
But it could be a great rental property. Any property that you buy needs a certain amount of due diligence and, looking at the docks and reserves and seeing what's going on.
But it looks nicely remodeled. It looks like a, good unit. Awesome.
But I thought it would be interesting to show. This is really about entry-level pricing to buy something and own it fee simple on Maui. And this unit does look really nice and remodeled. So that's why I chose
Thank you, Heidi. I would call that I got to call that a deal. All right, what's next? We got Ho'akalei. Is it Ho'akalei golf course frontage listed for $2 million? Dylan.
This is me. Yep.
Oh,
this is
sorry about that.
This is out by Ocean. Well, it's Ho'akalei, which is Haseko developed Ocean Point. Then they went and developed Ho'akalei. They built the Ho'akalei golf course, which this one is golf course frontage. And the ones that are along the golf course frontage are typically much larger. This was probably smaller for those golf course frontage homes. This one's 2,600 square feet, 4-bedroom, 3-bath. Newer construction. This is where a lot of the new construction is going. So for $2 million, they've come on the market with this one. But private golf course community, you can join the golf course. There's also a lagoon that was going to be a marina. They've decided to make it a lagoon, which you can rent paddle boards and things such as, and they're going to build commercial shops on it. But a really nice home, newer construction. This is where most of the newer construction is going on Oahu, is out that Kapolei Ewa side. So it gives you an idea of what golf course frontage looks like out there.
Beautiful property. Great. Now, so is this I'm sorry, Scott, you may have mentioned this. I was doing some stuff on the comments. Is this is this a home? Is it a single family home? What is it?
It is, yeah. It's a single family home. So you're probably about 6,000 square feet on the land, and this is roughly 2,700 square feet of interior space.
Okay, good size home. Josh, in action, do you have a link to that property? Josh, this came in when we were showing Heidi's property. Josh, there's a link in the description with a form to reach out to us. Do that, please, and I'll connect you with Heidi, and you guys can get Heidi can give you all the information on that property. All right, let's go to our next one over here. What do we got? We got 2-bedroom, 2-bath in Kona Coffee Villas. Dylan.
Yeah, it's funny. We never coordinate these, but I'm almost competing with Heidi on this one. So very similar.
It looks like it.
Yeah, similar finishings too. Yeah. This is Kona Coffee Villas is actually up near kind of where I live. It's one of the only condo complexes that's at elevation. It's like at about 1,000 feet. So it's nice and cool. Right in the coffee belt. And this is one of the nicest units I've ever seen, and they're totally redone. Pretty good square footage, about 1,000 square feet, and then you get a little private backyard, which is nice with these units. And this is a ground floor unit, so you do have the backyard. So that's a big bonus, is having that area to garden or hang out in. So yeah, $460. I mean, pretty good deal for what's going on in the market today. And it's a desirable area to me because you're never going to need air conditioning. It never gets hot, and you're just 10 minutes away from the beach. You just got to drive down the hill to get to the beach.
Nice. Love it. Excellent, gang. All right, gang. Let's see. We're coming up over here to our end. Let's kind of move on. If you have any questions on those properties or anything else, just kind of click it through. There is a link in the description. There is a form. Click on the form. That gets you to us, and I'll connect you in with whoever you need to speak to. All right. Let's get to. We're going to wrap it up over here, folks. Let's get to our closing thoughts. Let's move on with what we got over here. Let's see what we got. Dylan, you start this one off.
Yeah, just one of my favorites. Don't let perfect be the enemy of the done. We procrastinate trying to wait till something's perfect. The timing is right. We got all our ducks in a row, and sometimes you just got to take action and get it done. So I remind myself of this every day. Done is better than perfect.
Done is better to be. There's a follow on that. One of my favorite lines that are just right along that is from Guy Kawasaki, who was a famous Apple employee. He helped market the first Mac. He says, "Don't worry, be crappy." I like that. Don't worry, be crappy, and better to get something done. Let's see here. Patrick is happy. Mahalo to all four of you folks for your time and great information. Have a great weekend in paradise. We will have a great weekend in paradise. Scott, what about you?
If you obey all the rules, you miss all the fun. So, part of that is, question some of the things you do, but also get into mischief. It's fun sometimes.
If you got to break a rule, if you're not breaking a few rules, you're not trying hard enough, right? You're not breaking through. You're not trying hard enough. And yeah, Kinaya, Dylan called me a grandma before my time, but I love his words of wisdom. There may be a first, Kinaya. Maybe a first.
There's a market for buyers for her CRV for sure. So.
There you go. A market of grandmas. There's a market of grandmas for your
Correct.
For your CRV. Yeah, exactly. According to Dylan's son. And Tom's happy. Hey, Tom. Tom, so happy that you're here and that you're a part of this. And always sending love to all. Stay safe. You too, Auntie Joyce. Have a great weekend. Let's see, Heidi. What's yours?
Inner peace brings peace to the world. Just a reminder to stay calm and centered. And we do have a lot of influence on the people around us, and we don't know how our reactions to people are going to then affect other things going out from there. So what we do have control over are our responses and our actions, and that can have major effects going outward that we don't even realize.
Well said. Inner peace brings, and the opposite is also true, right? Inner anger and crazy emotions brings chaos to the world. Well said, Heidi. That's a great one. Thank you for that. Andre is blinded by the light. So there you go. That's Andre's motivating thought. That's a good one. All right, and I've got mine. Of course, my Proverbs. Let me put it up this way so you get all. Oh, there we go. Honor the Lord with your substance and with the first fruits of all your produce. This one took me a little bit. I had to actually research what this quote meant. It's basically a tithe. It's an appeal to tithing. What they mean by honor the Lord with your substance means the best of what you have produced. So take the best of your work and give that to the spiritual side first. So the best things that you do, take a part of your best and honor God with that. And that is a good thing to do, right? Tithing and giving and tithing, especially of your best things, not the junk, right? If you pick a bunch of bananas, use the local, you pick a bunch of bananas, you give the best bananas to God, right? The best ones. That to me creates a feeling of abundance, right? You have plenty, you give to others. You got plenty. That's my thing for today. And Kanaya says, "You guys rock." Hey, Kanaya, only rock because of you. Got your dose of aloha, and I'm glad that you enjoyed it. All right, folks. Well, I think that's it. We're gonna wrap this one up pretty much right on time. Awesome, love it. Let's go counterclockwise. Say goodbye, Scott, then Heidi, then Dylan.
Aloha, everybody.
Aloha. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Have a great one, folks. Enjoy. Aloha. See you folks in 2 weeks.